Hello everyone. Hi. So here I am trying to live stream at 1 in the morning, Philippine time. I don't know if anyone's still awake, but I just want to share some of my thoughts on how I get out of bronze quick after the end of a season. It's something that you can do as well, and of course it is also applicable in other days, even when it's not the start of the season, but it's something that you can do so you can grind them silver right away. Before we start, I just want to introduce myself. I am the Furious Chicken, but my in game name is Quick Draw Chev, and I am a silver player. I play about 8 accounts on silver. I grind them almost every day, and I main white right now on silver, which I can make a video of in the future if anyone's interested. But for me to get out of bronze, I don't really use my white in dragon lineup. I just use my bronze Mylor lineup. And I believe most of you know who Mylor is because he is the rave of the town pre Chaos Legion set. He's really strong. He neutralizes melee lineups right away. And when it comes to magic, he is uber effective as well because he has these splinters, these monsters that counters magic right away. I want to introduce you to these cards that I use with Mylor to win in bronze and get the 100 rating right away. Now, I understand that most of us don't have DECs yet because we just pay 500 pesos or $10 for the spell book. But for you to be ahead of the pack and get the silver right away, I highly recommend you buy some credits or get at least 25 DEC. If you can buy them from players or some other way, that would be great because you need to rent a few cards to get to bronze. I mean to silver. And these cards will be. Let me show you. Screenshot. Well, let's just go here. These cards will be Mylor, of course, the summoner. Here she would be around 6 DEC per level, which you only need level 1 anyway. And then the Mushroom Seer is the other more important part of the team. There you go, the Mushroom Seer, and you need the Wood Nymph, which is the common healer of the green team. I'll tell you more about why I prefer Wood Nymph over the Goblin Psychic. The Goblin Psychic is actually free use, but I prefer Wood Nymph. And let's see. The other one that you need to rent, which was free, was it. This Earth Elemental was free prior to the Chaos Legion set change on the starter deck, but it's not anymore. Though this is still a viable summoner. Well, actually, it is a necessary summoner for the lineup that I use. So I rent it. Um, the other cards would be free, so you don't have to worry about spending DEC. But let me go to each card specifically and tell you more on how I use this strategy. So first things first, the summoner is Mylor, Crowling. She is a 3 mana cost rare summoner with the Thorns ability, which damages melee attackers uh, every time they attack your your monsters. And because Summoner gives all of your monsters thorns, it automatically neutralizes any kind of melee damage from your opponents. Now, if you can neutralize one source of damage, like melee, you should be able to win 33% of the time right away. Because, of course, if they can't damage you, they can't win most of the time. Now, the reason why this strategy works easily in Bronze League is because of this other card I mentioned, which you can rent for about 6 DEC. Yo, sup, Jonas? How are you? Yo, thank you for dropping by. Uh, the other card that I want to mention would be Mushroom Seer. This would just be about 6 to 7 DEC to rent. Sometimes you can even snipe something lower, but that 6 DEC should be enough. Now, it costs quite a bit for 5 mana, but it has 2 damage anyways. So that's cool. But the most important part of this card is its ability, Silence, which reduces the magic attack of all enemy by 1 point. Now, if you remember earlier, Mylor neutralizes 1/3 of the possible damage from your opponent because it automatically kills melee attackers. And Mushroom Seer allows you to take care of the other 33% because of silence. Most bronze players use an Alric-esque Obsidian lineup for magic damage because magic damage bypasses armor and gives you the higher uh, chance of winning against matchups. So allowing yourself giving yourself that silence ability neutralizes at least half, well, up to half probably, but half of your opponent's damage. Um, and in in combination with this card, Unicorn Mustang or Void Unicorn, as how I call him. This is a free card, by the way. You don't have to rent it, but it has that Void ability, which reduces all magic attacks by one. So, for example, most of your opponent's cards has 1 damage for magic, and then Obsidian gives them an additional 1 damage. The combination of that -1 magic for everyone from Mushroom Seer and that -1 damage from Unicorn Mustang neutralizes 2 magic damage right away. And most of the time for Bronze League matches, that's the most that they can deal to you. So unless they can deal damage other ways like melee, which we can take care of with thorns, or ranged, you should be able to take care of 66.7% of your matches. Um, Now, the question is, how do we make sure that those tankers survive so they can keep on dishing out thorn damage? Of course, we know that green has tons of healers like Goblin Psychic, which comes free right now in the starter deck. Um, but I'm not really a big fan of the Goblin Psychic, though it's free, because even though it has that 2 magic damage, that 6 mana is a lot to partner with the Unicorn and the Mushroom Seer. Uh, Mushroom Seer is 5 mana and Unicorn is 8. That's 4. That's 13 right away, right? And with the Summoner, 16. So low mana matches, you won't be able to add that Goblin Psychic on to your lineup anymore. Um, if you remember, our winning condition in this game is to sustain damages from your opponent using Thorn and the Void and the Silence and just beat them up once, they can't really damage you. So if your sustain creature like this takes too much space and it dies right away, drastically lowers your chances of winning. That's why, even though this card is not free, Wood Nymph, I still rent it. It's not even that expensive. It's just 1.1 DEC. But this 2 mana difference from Goblin Psychic 6 to this one's 4 enables you to put in additional cards as bodies to be Thorn Dishers. And Wood Nymph does the same healing as the Goblin anyways. Remember, we don't need the damage from Goblin or Wood Nymph. We just need the sustain of that tank heal. Now, there's this other card I want to showcase, which was part of the free cards prior to the Chaos Legion set, but it's not free anymore, so you have to rent it, and that would be the Earth Elemental. It's not that expensive. It's not even a DEC, but um, I want you to look at this card's HP. For 3 mana cost, yes, it only has 1 damage, that's fine. And 1 speed, which could make it miss a lot. What's important is that 6 HP. As a backline support, it should be able to sustain your healers longer so don't die to sneakers right away. There will be instances where they have sneakers that can hit 3 damage right away or 2 that can easily kill your healer, which would leave your void unicorn vulnerable to damage from your opponent even if it thorns melee attackers. Having Earth Elemental in the backline ensures that your healers will be able to survive 3, even 4 hits, um, and keep on healing that Void Unicorn until it destroys your opponent's front lines. Void Unicorn has 4 damage. That's a ton. It should be able for 3 damage, I believe. So in Bronze League, it should be able to take care of most of your opponent's front lines until it gets to the back line where its ranged monsters can't really deal any damage anymore. The good thing about Earth Elemental is that since it has 6 HP, it can dish out Thorn as well, care of courtesy of Mylor. So if they have melee um, sneakers, it should be able to kill them even before they get to your healer, the Wood Nymph. Now, other support cards that you can use would be the Failed Summoner. Um, Failed Summoner is free to use, so you don't have to rent it, and it is my choice as a second line of defense after the Void Unicorn. Why? One, because it has 4 HP, which should be enough to tank around 2, sometimes even 3 attacks, which mean that he can dish out thorn damage as well. But look at these two things. One, the 2 mana cost. That's not a lot. It should be able to tank. I should be able to squeeze into any kind of low mana lineup, or even if it's not that low mana lineup, it should be able to afford you 1 slot, even if you put in high mana monsters for the damage dealer at the back or the tank up front. Aside from the mana cost, that magic reflect ability allows you to kill the remaining magic damage that your opponent still has after your unicorn dies, if it dies. Most of the time it doesn't happen, but just in case, this one should be able to tank for the thorn damage and kill those pesky magic damage dealers. Because of that 4 HP, it should be able to get at least 1 healing from that Wood Nymph as well, so long as the Wood Nymph survives because of that Earth Elemental at the back line. So with those 4, you should be able to get a 20 mana cost lineup, 3 for the Mylor, 8 for the Void Unicorn, that would make it 11 plus 2 for the Failed Summoner, 13, 4 for the Wood Nymph, 17, and then that Earth Elemental, additional 3. For 20 cost, you have a strong front line for the Unicorn, a 2 mana cost high HP second line of defense, a healer, and then a strong backline defense as well. Now, once you get to the 25-27 mana range, that would be your sweet spot because you can then add that Mushroom Seer I mentioned earlier. Around 25 or 27 mana, your opponent should be able to deploy more magic damage dealers. But with your Mushroom Seer suppressing their additional magic damage, you should be able to breeze through them with your Mushroom Unicorn's hard hitting 3 damage up front. Now, one of the cards I also like adding to the backline if you have 27 mana would be this card. It's also green. It's free. The Khmer Princess doesn't have any ability yet at level 1, but it gives you an additional 1 magic damage that sometimes is what you need to push you over that edge. I normally place it before the elemental, Earth Elemental, so second to the back, and it can bypass those pesky armors that sometimes your melee and range damage dealers can't really penetrate into. Plus, it's just 2 mana, so you can just fit it anywhere. Now, one of the things that I learned when it comes to low mana matches is that It's better to spread the the mana cost to more bodies to dish out that thorn damage instead of getting that one big hitter like Unicorn Mustang. So what I do is, example, 15 mana. I just deploy a 2 mana cost failed summoner. Where's that? It's uncommon. Yeah, this failed summoner. And then the second line of defense would be the Earth Elemental. And then the back line would be the Wood Nymph. The Wood Nymph is great at the back line, even though the Earth's Elemental can't attack once the failed summoner dies. That 6 HP is more than enough to tank a few melee hits to dish out the thorn damage. Only problem would be the backline hitters of the opponent that can easily kill your Wood Nymph. But one thing that you can do is to rent this chicken, our channel mascot, and the chicken will provide you um, one that one body to block one melee sneaker at the back line. Yeah, it's really cheap, so around 2 or 3 DEC. And what's important about that is that it also has the Thorn's ability because of Mylor, so it should be able to kill maybe a 2 HP melee attack sneaker. Um, Now that's low mana, so you don't have to worry about big hitters from your opponent. And if they only spend all of their mana for one creature, you should be able to take care of that with your two front lines. The other card that you can rent would be this Creeping Ooze. It's not really that expensive, but it helps a lot uh, when it comes to um, slowing your opponent because of that slow ability, but more importantly, that one extra body, as what I mentioned, when it comes to Myler stacks, it is way better if you have more bodies on the field that can soak up damage and deal that thorn instead of having big damage creatures that have low HP. Um, Now, if we're gonna sum it up, you will only be spending around 20 DEC, 8 for 7 or 8 for Myler, 6 for the Mushroom Seer, which would make it 14, and then around 3 for the Chicken, 17, and then the other cards are not even a DEC. So in less than 20 DEC, you should be able to take care of 6.7% of your matches in Bronze because you can neutralize both melee and magic damage. The only problem would be the ranged lineup, especially with that new Summoner General Sloan. But that's another conversation we can have for another day. But for now, what I can tell you for sure is that with this kind of lineup, you should be able to breeze through bronze and get to silver right away. If you start at around 500 DEC, in less than 20 ECR, you should be able to get to 1000 MMR right away. Then you can just wait an entire day or less even to get to back to 100 and then start renting for power, which can be another topic for another day. I can tell you what I do to to grind in silver with multiple cards and lineups that you can use brain dead even. You can use a PC and run multiple accounts, 3 or 4 even, using the same lineup, and you should be able to win 7 or 10, 8 times out of 10 matches. If you're interested, you can put in a comment about that, and I can maybe make a video about it. Um, by the way, I just want to thank Jonas right now. I'm doing this live because I don't really know how to record a video, and I don't really know how to edit videos and all, so I just decided to live stream it. And Jonas is here, you know, communicating with me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, if you like, you can drop your IGN, and then I can maybe send you some DEC for your time. You really appreciate it. Now, let me summarize the video. What I do in silver is use a Myler stack The most important one is the Summoner Miler, which you can rent for just 7 DEC. Spread the mana cost allowed to you in each match for more bodies instead of damage, so you can get more thorn damage out to your opponent. Rent, aside from Milo, a Mushroom Seer to take care of magic lineups from Obsidian or those people that still has Alric on their lineup, and use the Earth Elemental in the backline for additional sneak support. Wood Nymph is better than Goblin and Psychic for tank heal because of the lower mana. Use the Failed Summoner on the second line after the Void Unicorn, and squeeze in a Khmer Princess, an Ooze, or a Chicken for additional body and thorn damage. Now, that should be it for now, but let me go ahead and check if. Alright, let me go ahead and send Jonas here some DEC since, he's kind enough to spend a few minutes of his time with me. I don't know how much I should give you. I'm gonna give you 100 DEC for your effort. Thank you. I appreciate it. Here it is. And there we go. Well, that should be it. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a great day or good night wherever you are. And if you're a chicken, we'll see you again next time. Bye. And there we go. Well, that should be it. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a great day or good night wherever you are. And if you're a chicken, we'll see you again next time. Bye.